Dude, we've been making some serious gains in terms of account power level on account of some champs we've been maxing up recently, and we're going to be covering one of those very special champs in this video. But man, Bellower has been great as a campaign farmer. He's in like a whole bunch of like Slayer and stun sets, so he helps a lot into wave content and is able to farm campaign 12 in like 8 seconds or something. Kerzad is a similar deal. He's been sweet to build out, especially with the 6-star Perfect Soul. Let me tell you something as well. Thor is ridiculous. Okay, this champ, he's only level 50 on my account right now. I'm going to be taking him up to 6-star very, very soon. Probably by the time you're watching this video, actually. He already hits as hard as like most level 60 nukers at level 50, and his build is coming together extremely well as well. I've been able to cobble together all of my Slayer gear. He's going to be in a 9-piece Slayer set. Oh my god, I can't wait to fully build this guy out and do a showcase of this guy when the time for that comes. But this video is actually going to be focused on the fusion champ from, I think, a couple months ago, good old Skorid, the half-spawn. This was a fusion that actually quite a lot of people just sort of skipped out on. Skorid is sort of very, very average and underwhelming across the board, apart from the fact that he was kind of sold as like a HYDRA damage dealer specialist. We're going to be putting that to the test in this video, and just putting the judgment on Skorid. Was he worth fusing? And before we get to Skorid's build, I'm actually going to be starting a brand new free-to-play account very, very soon here on this channel. And you should too, using my beginner promo link down below at the top of the video description. You click on that link down there, you'll get yourself 2 free epic champions, including Rector Drath, once your account hits level 25. It's one of the best beginner promo links going. To be honest, I'm probably going to be using it myself to set up my old free-to-play account. Just make sure that before you click the link, you do sign out of Plarium Play if you are on PC, to ensure that you create a new Plarium ID when setting up your new account, and just guarantee that you're going to get your hands on all of these saucy rewards. Alright, so Skorid the Half-Spawn, what is he all about? His A1 is an attack 1 enemy with the chance of applying a debuff spread effect, taking a hex debuff and placing it on all enemies, which is pretty tight. On his A2, he's got an attack 1 enemy, except it's secretly an AoE hit, right? Before attacking, place a strong increased attack buff on this champ for 2 turns, and repeat this attack on all enemies under a hex debuff. This thing can actually kind of hit like a truck. I was a little bit surprised at how hard this skill does hit. It's pretty solid, honestly. But Skorid is really all about his A3, right? Because he's an accuracy-based nuker, he's bringing a lot of utility to the table, and this is what that skill is all about. It's an attack all enemies. Before attacking, place a hex debuff on all enemies for 2 turns. He's a nuker that brings the hex, okay? Completely removing the need to have a cursed set on your champs, on your HYDRA teams, right? Skorid just kind of fills that role. So he's kind of half damage dealer, half extreme utility. Also, the damage inflicted by this skill increases by 20% for each hex debuff placed, stacking up to 100%. So very, very good into, you know, just clearing out wave content as well, which is a great little bonus. But into HYDRA, yeah, it's like an 80% bonus damage, provided you land every single hex. And finally, on his passive, fill this champion's turn meter by 10% when attacking targets without a hex debuff. That's more of like a just-in-case passive, to be honest, and nice to have, but nothing sort of defining for Skorid. So how do I have him built out? I have him in, honestly, a little bit of hand-me-down gear, I guess. I know that like gear quality is very, very relative compared to where your account is at any given time. For me, it's a mix of pinpoint gear and Slayer pieces. As far as the Slayer pieces go, we have him in 5-piece Slayer. Sadly, we're just a little bit short of being able to get the 6-piece Slayer set up and running on him. I just don't have any Slayer accessories for my Demon Spawn faction, so it's a real struggle to get that to work. But you know what, we go enough into Slayer, I guess, to at least get us up to that 100% total crit rate, so that's good. And then also we dip into Pinpoint, the most underrated set in the game. Extremely good for all of these filler accessories, just to get his accuracy up a little bit. His final stat rollout is not that impressive, but to be honest, it doesn't have to be. I'm considering this guy a progression nuker for this HYDRA team, right? So his attack's at around like 4,000, his speed is, yeah, it's fine. A little bit overcapped on crit, but that's okay. Crit damage is reasonable, and accuracy is just about high enough for normal and hard mode HYDRA, which is what I need him for right now. Right, so before we get into testing Skorid, full disclosure, I'm just really starting to get involved with HYDRA on this account. We're like 7 months deep, and so I've got one HYDRA team that's set up and doing pretty good. We got one alt team that we are trying to set up. Now, I did try out Skorid into hard. HYDRA kind of subbed him in with a couple of other backup champs just to see how they would fare in the current rotation. Ugh, didn't go so hot. In fact, this is the replay of how things transpired in that fight, which of course I didn't keep the result for this one. It was all going so well, man, until the big angry head on the right, I forget its name, it's the head of going mental once it reaches a certain amount of stacks, crits the entire team, one-shots everybody, and yeah, that was the end of Skorid's attempt sojourn into hard mode Hydra. And so, the team in which I'm slotting Skorid into is actually the B team. The backup team, the team that's a bit of a work in progress, right, as you can see. And honestly, as far as Hydra teams go, and for where we are in Raid right now, it's actually a pretty budget team when you think on it, right? 3 of the legendaries here, Bival, Skorid, and Estrid, are all fusion legendaries, and so like relatively accessible compared to legendaries that you're just pulling from shards, like good old Withia over here, and she's just here to provide some extra heals. She's still rank 5, she's not even level 60 yet, and so she's only contributing so much. Of course, Bivald is going to be the provoker. We've got the block buffs, debuff coming in from good old Ugo, who of course is a non-void epic, and then some budget damage dealing action coming in from the Royal Guard as well. And so, yeah, decent amount of budget-ish options on this team, and it's very, very much, you know, hodgepodge and needs a lot of work doing to it, but this is how the run went. And here we go. So, of course, the primary purpose of having Skorid in the team, and what makes him such a solid nuker and a Hydra specialist, is the fact that he's sort of a damage-dealing debuffer hybrid. I don't have him built out in the best possible gear, and so I'm kind of doubtful as to what kind of damage he's going to be doing here as he goes in to place these hexes, and here it is. Not too bad, to be honest. A few 100,000s all over the place, and again, this is just into normal mode Hydra, but that's just where I am on the account, right? We've got to have a team that's actually farming this on the weekly anyway, just for the sake of progression and helping out in Hydra Clash and stuff like that, so no shame showing off a champ, at least in my view, when you're progressing like this in normal mode Hydra, man. So yeah, Skorid bringing those hexes, and doing a little bit of damage to boot. Now, I was very, very curious as to how his damage would compare with the Royal Guard, given my Royal Guard is built out pretty nicely, to be honest. 100% crit rate, crap load of crit damage as well. So my Royal Guard is kind of smacking on his A2, I think it is. And so seeing how Skorid compares to the Royal Guard's damage, I think is going to be a good kind of barometer for where Skorid falls. Is he absolutely broken? Is he absolutely mental? Is he worthy of the title of Hydra Specialist? Well, to be honest, in spite of what the thumbnail says, and I apologize for that, but you know how YouTube is, right? Rewards the hell out of clickbait. I'm curious to hear what you guys think. Have you guys been getting good value out of Skorid? For me, I feel like his damage just isn't there. I feel like the damage, it's good. Don't get me wrong, the damage is quite solid and he can do a good job into Hydra. Maybe I just haven't geared him up effectively enough yet, and he's got some hand-me-down gear and stuff, so maybe that's part of the problem. But bro, my Thor deals like as much damage, if not more, than Skorid already, and my Thor's level 50, man. I know that's Thor, and of course he's like a crazy, and so maybe it's unfair to compare the two. And it's more fair to compare the Skorid to the likes of Royal Guard. And on that front, we will sort of skip ahead in this fight a little bit and just see how his damage falls come the end of the battle. And so skipped ahead quite a bunch here. The battle's going to end in like 30 or 40 seconds or something. But again, I think the real value of Skorid is the fact that he just brings the Hex debuff and he's a damage dealer hybrid. And so how does he actually stack up against other nukers? It's just dependent on what your comps need and what your teams need going into Hydra. But this battle, I'm going to stop. As you can see, we're kind of like smooth sailing here, which is really nice with a budget-ish team like this. I say budget-ish, this is like 3-4 legendaries. It's not that budget, but you know what I mean. I'm going to stop the damage in just a second and stop the battle and just see where the damage numbers lie and who's actually dealing the most damage. Let me tell you something, I've also got to tweak my Bivald build a little bit as well, as you're going to see here. Bivald's damage is not as impressive as it could be. We're going to get to him in a future video. But there it is, man. In the end, Skorid almost doubling the Royal Guard's damage was not something I was expecting, man. 20 million damage dealt, actually 21 million damage dealt, Skorid dealing almost half of that damage. Actually pretty goddamn solid. Now, of course, Royal Guard, maybe I've like misbuilt him or something in some way as well, but I don't think so, man. I think the Royal Guard was doing pretty okay. But Skorid honestly just performing much, much better than I thought. Like, I didn't feel like he was doing much damage until I got to the score screen and I was like, it might only be normal Hydra in a budget-ish team. But he's like kind of carrying the damage for the team, man, which sort of surprised me a little bit. just looking at his numbers as the battle was playing out. Now, of course, this team, a lot of work to be done with this. I want to boost up Bivald's gear and his damage a little bit as well. He's also a bit of an unreliable provoker in the team, so I'm going to need to fix that. And the Royal Guard is, of course, going to be replaced by Thor very, very soon. And Thor with a 5-star perfect soul in 9 pieces of Slayer gear is probably going to quadruple the Royal Guard's damage. It might even triple the Skorid's damage or something, you know. Thor's just that good. And also Thor is bringing a much more reliable decreased speed than Royal Guard too. So Thor's going to be a massive upgrade to this kind of B team for Hydra, man. But the Skorid, I think he's done enough to earn my respect and earn a place alongside Thor and be bringing that Hex debuff, which of course is going to boost up the Thor's damage by a hell of a lot anyway, having such a reliable Hex debuff. And so that is how Skorid the Half-Spawn is shaping up on my account, man. Do I regret fusing this guy? Do I regret building him out? I don't know, dude. I think that he's kind of in between. He's a good progression, I think, damage dealer for Hydra, is where I put him. For that and for how easy the fusion was, hell, maybe that makes him actually, maybe I'm underestimating him a little bit. He's definitely doing a good job for us on the squad. Will we eventually phase him out, however? I mean, probably. I also got to throw out there as well, this is my current Bivald of the Thorn build. I've got him just sitting in a bunch of provoke gear to try and make him a bit more reliable as a Hydra provoker. I don't want to have him built out like this, man. I've got a set ready to run. Dude, I'm just going to show you the set, man. Check this son of a gun out. If we go to the preset manager right here, I'm going to try this on. Yes, it's a couple of crit pieces, but they're just perfect for sort of rounding his stats up. We've also got HP Bivy accessories here, and oh my god, dude. The gear that's ready to roll up on this sucker. Look at the crit damage gauntlets, man, and the HP. Oh, yo. We're going to be able to roll this gear up and probably get our Bivald up to north of maybe 90,000, maybe like 94,000 HP or something once all is said and done. Also the neck piece, crit damage neck piece as well. And so we're going to get to pump his crit damage even more and just get this Bivy absolutely smacking. Yeah, I'm really excited to go ahead and get Bivald rolled up in this gear. But what do you guys think of Skorid the Half-Spawn, man? Have you guys built him out? Did you fuse him? How have you been feeling about him? Have you been getting use out of the nerd? And how would you score the little sucker out of 10? Let me know down below, man. Ooh, and would you look at that? The Clan vs. Clan tournament has finished, and after crafting 20 billion artifacts, oh my god, bro. Look at this, dude. Oh my god. After crafting 20 billion items in our forge, yeah, we did pretty well in terms of the personal reward points. Sweet. Alright, hey man, if you're going to start off a new Raid Shadow Legends account, there's no better way to do it than clicking on my promo link down below at the top of the video description box. Click that link, sign up to Raid, you get yourself 2 free epic champions, including Rector Draft at account level 25. It's a damn good beginner sign-up code, so make sure you share it with your buddies if they're looking to start playing Raid as well. Hey, thanks for watching. Hope you all did enjoy it, and I'm going to catch all of y'all just a tad bit later, man.